All right, my friends, time for a little Sunday fun. This ought to be good. I was asked a question the other day. Well, I say the other day, a few weeks ago. How much do we remember about our childhoods, about our growing up, this, that, and the other? And I happened to see this channel, and I knew about it, called Recollection Road. All credit to Recollection Road for this. We don't want any. We don't need any. All we want to do is promote Recollection Road. And, well, we figured we'd start in the 1970s, since that's when I grew up, and a lot of you did too. I know that from talking with you. So we're going to check it out and see. This is 12 Things Gone Forever, the 1970s, Life in America. We're going to see what's gone and what's not and why it's gone. See if we can figure out why it's gone. Because that was another part of the question. Why are some things gone now? Well, we're going to find out. So let's check it out and see. Thank you for the question. Thank you to Recollection Road. As I said, all credit goes to them. We don't want any. We don't need any. All we want to do is promote them. Please go down and subscribe to them. Original video will be down in the description, all that. And let's see why things are gone forever. 12 things, 1970s. Let's check it out and see what we got. Kind of quiz ourselves here. See if we remember all this. Let's go. Here.
During the 1970s, if you had no car, it was no problem. All you had to do was stick out your thumb and wait for a kind stranger to pull over and offer you a ride. For a free spirit, hitchhiking may have been the best option when your own 2 feet couldn't get you there. Since the 1970s, hitchhiking has been declining for a number of reasons, with safety being at the top of the list.
Yep. I think a lot of us hitchhiked in the 70s. Quite a few did. I have an aunt that hitchhiked across the country several times. And I did a lot of hitchhiking back in the 70s too. A lot of us did. Even in school, I mean, you know, if you had to go downtown or something, you didn't have bus fare or whatever, you'd hitchhike and take off and go, you know. Nothing big back then, but yeah, safety now, yeah, I mean, can you imagine, you know, trying to hitchhike now? No, I don't think so. No, that's one that's definitely gone. And probably will not make any kind of comeback anytime soon. You'll see a hitchhiker every now and again on the highways, but it ain't very often anymore.
Movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and real-life crime stories that occurred during the 70s had people looking for other ways to get around. Saturday morning was supposed to be about eating sugary cereals and watching cartoons with no educational value. But
okay, I don't know a lot about this. I know of it. I don't know a lot about it, though. But we didn't watch a lot of Saturday morning stuff either. So, around my place, anyway.
Schoolhouse Rock tricked us by teaching us multiplication, history, and the differences between conjunctions and interjections. Thanks to their catchy songs, those watching knew all about the different branches of government and how a bill becomes a law without ever cracking open a book. Everything about the strange case of Patty Hearst, the granddaughter of publishing titan William.
Okay, I remember that one. The Patty Hearst saga, yep. I remember that one well. Heard about it all over the place. Yeah. Wow. That's a wild one. See what they say about it here.
Randolph Hearst was like something out of a Hollywood movie, and many of us couldn't get enough. It started with her 1974 kidnapping, and then, even more shockingly, her new identity as Tanya, joining forces with her captors to rob banks around San Francisco. As it played out on TV, it had all of us wondering, is this really happening? In the 1970s, opening a soda or beer can required pulling a ring that tore open a small wedge shape on the top of an aluminum can. Then the ring would be thrown away, usually on the ground where somebody could step on it. Injuries from those metal tabs became a nationwide epidemic that had many of us wearing shoes to walk along the beach.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely don't see that anymore. Yeah, that's definitely a hazard. Not just for your feet, right? Because they get thrown on the ground as you go. Well, some of us would pull them and then put them inside the can. But then you'd end up with them on your tongue, too, every once in a while, and you cut your tongue and this, that, and the other. Yeah, that was fun.
The metal pull tabs began being phased out by the early 1980s, following the invention of the easy open stay tab. Television programming during the 1970s wasn't available around the clock. At some point during the night, stations would sign off and use a test pattern graphic to signify they were off air. Occasionally, they might use something more patriotic, like the American flag, but generally, that was the only viewing option for late-night viewers until around 6 a.m.
Yeah, for my younger friends out there, yeah, back in the 70s, you didn't watch TV all night because it wasn't on. You had 3 to 5 stations depending on where you lived on a good day, you know, because everything was done by antenna too. You didn't have cable and you didn't have satellite and all that. So you had 3 to 5 stations on a good day, and every one of them closed down at, midnight. And it went off with this test pattern. And you went to bed because there was nothing else. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have gaming. You didn't, none of that. So, yeah.
Men and women in the 1970s were big on tight-fitting shirts, but more importantly, it had to have the largest and floppiest collars possible. These collars were double the size of a standard collar, and were often accompanied by an exposed hairy chest. This style could be found on shirts, leisure suits, and even jackets of the era. And if you did have a jacket on, you would make sure to flip the shirt collar to the outside of the jacket for an even more fashion-forward look.
I hated those
Sideburns
myself.
were a popular counterculture style during the 1950s and 1960s, in direct response to the carefully groomed hairstyles of the greatest generation. But it wasn't until the late 60s and into the 70s that the masses grew them out to Civil War-era proportions. Men like Richard Roundtree, Burt Reynolds, and Elvis Presley made wearing huge mutton chops an iconic 1970s look. Much like wallpaper from the 1970s,
Yeah. Oh, I remember them. Floral sofas and shag carpet, usually green or orange, in apartments. Yeah, stuff was hard to clean and, oh my God, what a mess. Boy, it sure is funny to look back on it now, though.
upholstery tended to be big, bright, and bold. Sofas during this decade were busy with floral patterns that used browns, oranges, and greens in every shade. These eye-catching living room centerpieces were in nearly every home of the day, and fit right in with the wood paneling and shag carpet to give the room that classic 1970s feel. The 1973 oil crisis hit wallets hard, and as fueling larger cars became more and more expensive,
The Pinto, my dad had one of those. Oh my God. Oh, I can't believe they're showing that. Oh man. The Pinto, the Maverick, what was the other one? The Pacer, all them. Oh my God. Ugly cars. They sure got good gas mileage though.
Americans switched to compact cars like the Ford Pinto, the AMC Gremlin, and the AMC Pacer. Despite getting better gas mileage, all three cars were terribly ugly. Luckily, it didn't take the car makers long to realize their mistakes, and all three vehicles stopped production by 1980. The disco era was short-lived, but left an indelible mark on the 1970s with its music and fashion. What started in the clubs of New York City spread to all parts of the country when the movie Saturday Night Fever was released. The film brought disco to the masses and had many singing catchy tunes by ABBA, Donna Summer, the Village People, and the Bee Gees.
Yeah, disco was a very short-lived era, and a lot of people don't know that. By the time Saturday Night Fever came out, disco was gone, you know? So, yeah, it kind of brought it back for a very short-lived moment, but, yeah. But you did get some great artists out of that era, too. Donna Summer, for instance, you know, the Queen. And you still, every once in a while in music, you'll hear a little bit of influence from the disco era. And it's pretty cool to hear that. I mean, it wasn't a great era, don't get me wrong, in music. It was not a great era at all. But, yeah.
Running around naked in public was one of the biggest and strangest trends of the 1970s. The attention-grabbing behavior swept across America, especially during sporting events and on college campuses, and really peaked by the mid-70s. The craze led to tons of novelty products hitting the market, like gag gifts and t-shirts, and it also inspired comedy songs like The Streak by Ray Stevens.
Yeah, there's a trend you won't see again, I doubt.
During the 70s, when neighbors went on vacation, there was a good chance that when they got home, you would be invited over to sit in the living room as they loaded slides into a carousel projector and then clicked through pictures of their entire trip.
Yep, because there wasn't, I mean, other than in Hollywood, there wasn't motion cameras or anything like that, or cell phones or any of that stuff. It was all done by slide and or just pure photographs, and you had, you know, huge photo books full of stuff.
As they told painstakingly boring stories about each photo, all you could think about was the dust floating through the projector light, or the occasional upside-down slide. If you enjoyed...
All right. Yeah, y'all subscribe to Recollection Road. We appreciate it. Always support our friends and our fellow creators. Yeah, that was 12. There's many more. If y'all want to see more, you want to do some quizzes, things like that, we're glad to do them. Y'all let me know. This is always fun stuff to do, stuff like this. It's stuff different. We don't usually do this, so, yeah, check it out with us. Let us know what you want to see, my friends. Have some fun with us. I'll see y'all later on the live. This is Old Pops. We are out.